Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new video. So today's video, we're actually going to be installing the Kartboy short shifter bushings. I am already running the short shifter. I've been running that shifter ever since I pretty much got the car, so pretty much 4 years. And I actually ran the exact same shift kit in my WRX. Absolutely loved it. So when I got the STI, it was kind of no question of which short shift kit I wanted to run. And I've absolutely been loving it. And it's really funny because my WRX, I had the shifter bushings, which are right over there, ready to go on, but I ended up selling it. So I never got to install them, but I included it with the sale to the new owner. And he actually installed them on the car, after my ownership. But I've had these bushings sitting around for a little while. So we're going to install them tonight. The install is relatively simple. It's just a pain in the butt to get to. And the reason for that is because the exhaust and the drive shaft are in the way. It's just kind of hard to maneuver your hands in there. Relatively, it's a very simple install. It's just a matter of getting your hands in there. And one thing you need to watch out for is actually the rear bushing, which is this one back here. We need to watch out for those bolts because those are very easily stripped or cross-threaded, I should say, if you don't thread them in correctly. Hopefully everything goes smoothly and we don't cross-thread any bolts or anything like that, which I don't think we will. I don't think we'll run into any issues. I'm saying that now before I install it, so that can change. Let's go ahead, get the car jacked up, get ready to go, get the lights all set, and then I kind of show you where we're looking underneath the car and where they're located. So just for reference, this is what the short shift kit is from, how it is without the bushings. It's a nice short throw. It's nothing crazy. You can kind of see it's moving a little back and forth once it's in gear. So the bushings should take care of that. So we are jacked up, ready to go. Where we are going to be kind of working is right in this area where the mat is. So just for reference, this is what the car is facing forward. So we're going to go directly under. Let's see if I can kind of crawl under with you guys. And then as we get under, you can actually see it right there. You can see that little metal kind of shaft. That is where we're going to be working. You can actually see the rear bushing right here, the black piece. The front one is actually right where that light is, right there. Those are the two bushings on either side of that metal joint. So that is where we're going to be working. But as you can see, there's a heat shield right in the way right here. So all we're going to do is remove that. Those bolts right there are either 12 or 14 millimeter. I'll have to check. You actually have to remove the O2 sensor on the cat right here. But I'm going to try and not do that. I'm just gonna try to move it out of the way just so we don't have to deal with, removing O2 sensors or anything like that. But if you want to remove that entire heat shield here, that is the best way to go about it. So let's go ahead, loosen the heat shield, and let's see if we can get some good access. So for the sake of the video, I ended up actually removing the heat shield. I just took the O2 off, super simple. I just used a crescent wrench right here. It is size 22. Definitely recommend using one of these just so it doesn't slip off. It's what you would use if you're bleeding brakes. But yeah, definitely recommend doing that. This job's gonna be way easier with that removed, and it came right off. So, all right, so here we go. As you can see, this is the shift linkage right here. In the front right here, these are the two front bushings, and in the rear, that little black rubber boot right there is what we're going to remove. So we're gonna remove the rear first, get that knocked out, and then we'll move to the front. All right, guys, so you're going to actually have to loosen this brace, this cross brace right here, because if you don't, you're not gonna have enough room to get that bolt out right there out of the bushing. So all you gotta do is just loosen it up. It's two here, two on the other side, and then two right here. They're 14 millimeter. You don't have to take the whole thing totally out, just kind of position it out of the way. So you're able to kind of pull down the linkage and pull the bolt out. So now that we got the bolt out, I'm able to pry those bushings out. I'm just going to use a flathead, and then we can go ahead and get the rear one out as well. So let me go ahead, remove those bushings, and we'll move to the next step. So we got the bushings out. The front one was the hardest just because it's one piece. As you can see, the Kartboy is two pieces, so that's gonna be way easier to install. But all I did was actually take a flathead, and I kind of just pushed in one side and squeezed it, and then eventually just popped through. The rear exhaust bushing tool, wrench, pliers, whatever you want to call it, came off in 2 seconds. There's a little lip on the back of the actual linkage that is really hard to pull off by hand, but if you have one of these, I highly suggest getting one. It popped right off in a second. So I definitely recommend picking that up if you're going to do this, and plus it's good to have if you ever do exhausts and all that. So here we go. Here's the difference. Here's the stock one. As you can see, it is flimsy, squishy. These are actually made of poly. So they're very, very firm. These will probably outlast the length of the car. Same thing here. This is squishy. This is made of poly. Super hard. Now, it is said that when you install these, it's going to create a little bit NVH in the car more than you're used to. But I will obviously report back once I get them installed and see if there really is any. But I'm really, really looking forward to getting this installed. Before I put these on, I'm going to throw some grease or lube on there just to keep things nice and noise free. And then I'm simply just going to go ahead, reverse everything I just did. The really nice part about this, there are two pieces. Then you just slip the little metal sleeve through. And the bolt goes through that. Same thing here, they provide new bolts, which is nice. And they just thread exactly right back into the same exact spot where the stock ones went in. So you are good to go. So let me go ahead, throw these on the car, and then I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like with everything back together. Then we'll check out what the shifter feels like, and then we'll wrap this video up. So let me go ahead, get on the car and get these on.
A few moments later.
All right, fellas, we are done. Man, that rear bushing back there, to get that in, threading the bolts in was a major pain in the butt, just to make sure you weren't cross-threading them. Absolutely a pain in the butt, but I eventually got it in, and yeah, so we are done. Everything is tightened up. Now all I got to do is put the O2 sensor back in, tighten all the braces down here, put the heat shield back on, and we will be set. So let me get all that done. Oh, for reference, if anybody's interested, when you do install a short shift kit, this line right here is the reverse cable. So as you can see, I have it zip tied. I did this a while ago when I installed the short shift kit. But when you install it, this line is too long and then it ends up hitting the drive shaft up here. So what you actually need to do is zip tie it, pull it tight so it doesn't hit in this area. Otherwise you'll hear kind of like a whirling noise. And that's basically the cable just hitting the drive shaft. So you got to make sure you zip tie it right here. And that's where I did it, just for reference. So, all right, damn, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'm absolutely beat. But yeah, there's the install. It's done. I tested everything up top just to make sure it felt okay before I start putting everything back. And it feels fantastic. But I am absolutely tired. All right, let me get all this stuff knocked out and we'll wrap this video up. Install is complete. The car is back on the ground. Everything is bolted back up. I'm about to go for a little drive just to make sure everything is okay. I preemptively put all the tools away because I feel pretty confident about the job that I did. All in all, that was about 2 hours. The rear bushing is just an absolute pain in the butt. Just to even manipulate it and get it in the right orientation and everything. It's such a simple job in terms of what you need to do. But overall, it was just, you're laying on your back underneath the car. And if I had a lift, I'm sure it would have gotten a lot easier. I would have been a lot more comfortable. I probably would have cursed a little less, but but we got the job done. That's just what it's like to modify a car. I don't think there's ever been a job that I've ever done on a car that I haven't gotten a blood hand or a cut or get super dirty and gross. But that's kind of the part of the fun of it. It sucks while you're doing it. Just knowing that you installed it yourself up to your expectations just makes it that much better. I was kind of just fooling around with the shifter, and it's crazy just how much it clicks back into gear and even into neutral. It's pretty impressive. So all in all, if you guys are interested in doing the bushings, I would definitely recommend doing the shift kit and the bushings at the same time. It's a little bit easier. Since I already had the shifter already on the car, I chose not to remove it. That could have been the reason why it took a little longer for me. But if you already have the shifter out of the car, it'll be a little bit easier since you'll be able to pull that linkage completely down and get, the bushings on and everything. But either way, I managed to do it on my back and we were all done. So I'm gonna go out for a quick drive, do a little, testing, see if I feel any difference, kind of get my thoughts about what I think of it. Obviously I'll report back in the future once I get more time with it, but I want to give you guys an initial impression just so you guys get an idea of what I'm feeling right away since I've been driving with the shift kit for a while. So let me go out for a drive and then I'll report back on my findings. So we are back from the little rip. I did my normal route when I go and test things after I install something on the car. And holy crap, I gotta say, for how cheap those bushings are, they make a pretty massive difference. I'm glad I went out for a drive instead of just saying, hey, they're great. So now I actually have some thoughts about it. So quickly, the first thing that I noticed was there is a little bit more NVH. So what NVH actually stands for, it stands for noise, vibration, and harshness. It's just added noise coming through the chassis that you wouldn't normally hear otherwise. Since the bushings stock are rubber, So it kind of removes some of that noise, some of that NVH. But once you start putting in firmer bushings around the car, you know, you start to notice a little bit more noise. So I noticed there was a little bit more. It's not anything unbearable, but there's definitely more transmission whine. So it definitely has more of a race car sound, which is really cool. I was not really expecting that. It has a really cool sound to it, a really cool race car sound to it, which I love. So besides the added noise, which is not bad at all, I think anybody would welcome that noise. It's not over the top. It's not annoying. If you're expecting a Cadillac, obviously you wouldn't be driving an STI in the first place. So that little extra noise is not a big deal. Another thing that I noticed is just the, you know, the notchiness of the shifts. Overall, just the Kartboy short shifter makes the shift points very notchy to begin with. But now that I have the bushings in there paired with the short shifter, it's super notchy. It feels awesome. There's no hesitation as to what gear you're actually in. It feels very much like a gated manual, not, you know, obviously to the full extent, but it has that click sound, that gated sound and feel. It's such a cool feeling. I love it. So let's hop into the car. I'll just show you quickly, just kind of a comparison. It's kind of hard to show the comparison, and you know, unless you actually felt it. Now, I was thinking if somebody was completely stock, like they had the stock shifter and then they converted over to the Kartboy short shifter as well as the bushings, it would be a huge difference. But for me, since I'm so used to the short shifter and then I did the bushings later, it's kind of a gradual step in terms of the overall feel of it. Going from stock bushings and stock shifter all the way to the Kartboy shifter and bushings, that would be a massive difference. So let's hop in the car. I'll just show you a little example. Hopefully you guys will be able to see a difference, but let's head in the car and check it out. There's gonna be a little bit of play because the shifter is top heavy, because this is a little bit of a weighted knob. It's around 420 grams, I think, which is by Racing. It's the Stratos. So if we put it into first, you can hear the click and it's very, very rewarding and satisfying. There's not a lot of play. Put into second, not a lot of play. Third, same thing. It's very, very notchy, which I absolutely love. Here's fifth, sixth, and then we got reverse. So just kind of a quick example. If we put it in the second and then we put it in neutral, you can actually hear and feel just how tight it is. See, it barely moves. You barely need to move the whole entire shifter to get it into gear. I'm doing this with just one finger. So as you guys can see, it's very, and it's not hard to get it into gear. You can literally move it with one finger, but you can see the notchiness and just how it kind of reacts when you bring it into neutral, into another gear. It's very rewarding. You know, I really don't like super short shifters, so the Kartboy is really nice since it, you know, does shorten the throw, but it's not like down here, the shifter, and it feels ridiculous. This is nice and even with the armrest, so it doesn't feel ridiculous. It doesn't feel out of place. It's a really, really nice height. And I'm really happy with this. I'm super pleased with the bushings. Obviously, the install was a pain in the butt, but I'm really glad I got it done. Honestly, I was procrastinating doing this install for quite a while. Everybody kept on asking me to get a video up on it. And I really just did not feel like doing it simply because I knew how involved it was in terms of just getting, you know, under the car, and it's a pain in the butt to get done, but I am so happy it is done. Feels fantastic. And I think anybody that is looking for a really, really nice kit, I cannot recommend the Kartboy short shifter with the bushings enough. That is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the install. I hope I was able to kind of clear up any confusion in terms of what to do to install those. One of the things I need to note is the rear bushing. You need to make sure the little angle on the actual bushing is facing down. I battled back and forth which way it was, you know, correct. But the side with the angle, it faces down towards the ground. So if you are confused about which way it goes, you know, that is the way. If you are confused, all you gotta do is hold it up to the stock bushing and you'll be able to figure it out, which is what I ended up doing. But if anybody is confused, just like I was looking up different pictures and tutorials to see if I can find anything. And obviously nobody said anything because nobody really goes into detail like I do. So I figured I would mention that. But if you guys have any questions at all in terms of the bushings or the shifter or anything else on the car, be sure to ask them below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.